Volume is good? Okay. For all 9 of us here. We'll get it done. Okay. We'll start in just a minute. Excuse me. Grab a water. Okay, it is 11, so we'll go and get started. And again, small but mighty numbers here, so feel free to come on up if you're so inclined. Okay. Yeah. Signing guys, and then I will get going. So. Okay, first up, share the love. I'll start 2 things. I've been coaching with Josh, and so I want to thank you for that. But he's really got me going on the AI stuff. And I haven't been a reluctant adopter to it, but I'm always I'm not a first adopter to that sort of stuff. But Perplexity is the Google killer. I had to figure out something and on Canva, and I just said, how do you do this? And spit it right out. So that's great. Also want to share the love to Liz Leonard. She is having her baby this morning. So yeah. No, so my wife loves to bake and baked her some banana bread last night. And so I text her this morning, say, hey, are you going to be at your house after Bold? She's like, nope. And she sends me the photo of like the wristband at the hospital. So yeah, so everything is going well. Anybody else sharing the love? Lee.
Thank Val for hosting an open house for me last Saturday on my listing out in Harriman.
Great.
Appreciate it a lot.
Wonderful. Nakai.
I just want to shout out Sean for taking on meetings. It was kind of up in the air if Grace had to do that. And Sean, just a team player. That was awesome.
You guys are great, but you don't strike me as the get in front of a crowd type of people. So happy to do it. Anybody else? All right. No problem. Okay, next up, we've got bite-sized wins. I just kind of shared my little one. Anybody else have any AI bite-sized wins that they've had in the last week? Josh.
I found out that you can get the pro version of Perplexity for free for a year. And if you go to Perplexity and just search, how do I get the free version for a year with Venmo? So as long as you have a Venmo account, you can get the free Perplexity for a year. And then here's the cool thing. Once you have the free Perplexity, you can actually use the Comet browser, which is their new, it's like the Google Chrome kind of a thing, right? It's their own independent browser. And I've spent a good deal of time on that over the last 24 hours, and it is remarkable.
Nice.
What it can do.
Yeah, I'm starting to dig in Perplexity a little bit more, so that's good to know.
Yeah.
So, okay. Anybody else have any AI bite-sized? John.
Yeah, all this we've been doing with Josh is I've got some people that I've been able to help, and it gives me a nice full report right when I go to use it.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else? Yeah. Next up, Mark.
So we've uploaded Phil Jones' book into ChatGPT, and then I'll go in I'll have a client email me something, and I had a client email me, and then I went in there and put it in there as Phil Jones and said, how should I respond? And it actually laid out a very excellent response that engaged the client and took the conversation further. So awesome. If you're not doing that, I think that's an easy one.
That's the exactly what to say.
Yeah, exactly what to say.
Yeah, it's awesome. That's fantastic. Okay, next up, we've got new agents, visitors. I don't think we have really anybody. Maybe this gentleman here.
A visitor. My name's Simon. I knew about you guys because my brother's a realtor for Keller Williams.
Oh, nice.
South Valley office.
Okay.
Him and Nick Gonzalez run a team out of that office. But I own a company called Honeydew Home. We're a general contractor by license, but primarily primarily I started the company because my brother told me that he has to call 5 handymen to get one to come
Yeah.
to prep a listing for him. And so what I realized is all the good handymen always have a hammer in their hand, so they never answer the phone when you need them to. And so I have a team of 6 handymen now that service Utah County, Salt Lake County, and then like Wasatch and Summit counties. So that's our service area. We intentionally keep it small and keep growing the team because our response times are faster than any of the
Nice.
response times you get elsewhere. And my handymen, I hire them with like a minimum of 7 years of construction experience is the number right now. So
Okay.
if you're looking for a handyman that can like match your level of customer service to the client, that's where we fit into the marketplace. So
Awesome.
we love realtors and our few realtors love us. So
Awesome. Is there any job too small type of thing or
yeah, well, we don't
Here,
discriminate.
this
but
is for people on the Zoom. So,
we have a standard charge of $169 for service calls.
okay.
And then typically we just standardize our pricing for small punch lists. We bill the $169 for the first hour and $100 an hour if it's tiny little punch list items. And then we're providing quotes for anything that's larger. Obviously, the homeowner's going to that price. And so that's one of the biggest struggles that other handyman services have. It's like they have no standard pricing. I'm sure you guys get quotes and you're like, that is 3 times what the last guy quoted. And so the big advantage for our realtors is they actually get to learn like, oh, this is what I can expect for pricing.
Nice.
Just better
Okay,
experience
great.
for the consumer.
Cool. Well, welcome. Thanks for being here. Normally the clouds ladder, we usually have more people. All right, next up, we've got Broker Dave. Okay. My goal is to keep this under an hour this week. So Dave, you gonna help me out?
Okay. 3 things. You guys hear about a merger going on? Yeah. Okay, just want to find out. How many of you have not yet made the move besides Ian? Oh, okay. Let's get it rolling, okay? We've had a couple of challenges with people making the move and then not having access to make changes and things like that on the MLS. And I've taken on the role of TC to make those changes for you after you've made your move. So, just let us know what the holdup is. But we've been doing this now for about 10 days, something like that. And we're about 1/3 of the way through.
Cool.
So if you want to pick it up, that'd be awesome. And number 2, the squabbles out here. First of all, if you guys are not happy with a buyer or a seller that you're under contract with, can you fire them? Yeah, it's a bilateral contract, guys. You've got to have an agreement to cancel the contract or whatever like that. And that seems to be getting passed because we've had a couple of situations where the seller just wanted to fire us. And first of all, misunderstandings and stuff, but they can't. And so it rolls over into me and I have to explain contracts to them and all that kind of thing. And we've generally got them worked out, but it's a bilateral contract, much like a buyer and seller contract on the REPC. It can be canceled under specific reasons, but those reasons have been agreed to in the accepted offer. And so, there's nothing in the buyer agency or the exclusive right to sell that says seller changed their mind, they can just fire it. Okay, so just keep that in mind. And number 2, 3, whatever number it is, because I'm being rushed.
Take your time. Take your time.
I listened to all the stuff about AI and the great responses that it gives Mark when he doesn't know what to say and all this. I had a situation where we had a little dispute with another agent and they called me up. I read through the contract and I read through the addenda that was written by this other agent. And then I talked to her. And not only was there very limited English, it wasn't put together well. And when I was like, okay, who wrote this addendum for you? The only thing I got out of it was AI. So whatever it is that you guys are sending out, make sure A, that you understand what it is, and B, can articulate it, because what you don't want to do is get in an appointment with somebody and have no idea what you put in an addendum and or whatever, and can't explain it to them in real time. Okay. AI is great. You got to have some real intelligence too.
Yes, we do. Thanks, Dave. All right. I love it. Thank you. All right. Well, I want to thank Kirsten and Samantha for giving me the Cultural Icon Award last week. That meant a lot. Was not expecting that. And so thank you guys again. So I have the privilege of giving it to somebody this week who I think exemplifies that service mentality that I think we all strive for. She's been on the ALC for years. She takes on extra projects. She does a lot of stuff that probably not everybody sees or takes advantage of, but she is probably one of the strongest pieces of glue we have that keeps this office together. So she unfortunately is not here today. So I will give this to somebody who can give it to her. Want to congratulate Marita for being our cultural icon. So when you see her, make sure to say congratulations. So Rick, I will hand this over to you so you can, or would you like to speak on her behalf? Are you her proxy?
I'd love to speak on her
Awesome.
behalf, but I won't.
Oh, well, there you go. Oh, we're set up there. So, okay, next we've got, oh, I apologize. Yeah, we're actually, because we do have some guests from, or people from both offices. Lindsay Kratz is the Midvale branch's culture icon. So when you see her, she's a great broker, guys. She's helped me out on some stuff. Even before this merger, you know, it was just Dave's bandwidth was pretty tight there for a few months. So when I needed a broker answer, give Lindsay a call. She's happy to help. And now that obviously it's official, it's not asking somebody kind of out of pocket. So yeah, so congrats to Lindsay as well. Okay. Got a couple things coming up. I know Jack Andrews was here last Tuesday, was talking about that breakfast and the kind of to go and check out one of their new developments out in Riverton. So if you guys are interested, please sign up. The link, you can do it on the link tree, but there is a link directly to it. They want to get a head count so they don't order 100 breakfasts and 7 people show up. So yes, Josh and Lee. Oh,
Okay, I just want,
okay.
because even Mike today said that the market stats weren't updated. He's still using KW Salt Lake City's
Okay.
link tree. So I just want to make sure that all of you guys know here in Salt Lake City, that link tree is dead.
Okay.
So perfect.
Yeah,
that's
here in a
coming
little
up.
bit, there's the new link for it in a bit. So, okay, so that is coming up on Thursday, the 16th, guys. I believe 10 a.m. is the start time. So again, if you're interested, please register. So again, they can get an accurate head count. And he talked about all about those incentives and everything they're doing. So lots of good stuff going on with Edge and Jack. So October 23rd, my real estate crush, Cody Gibson, is coming into town. He's awesome. So we'll be at the Salt Lake Community College. This is the one in downtown area. We usually go to the one out in Sandy, but he's teaching a half-day class on, I don't exactly know what the curriculum is, but whatever Cody gets into it's good stuff. So yeah. So he knows this stuff, guys. So whatever exactly is going to be taught, it's going to be well worth 5 hours of your day. So make sure to sign up for that. And then I don't know much about this last one, Double the Value with AI, but Friday, October 24th. Oh, okay,
I
perfect.
can tell you a little bit about it. So my recommendation, once a month, Shoni is doing an AI class for us. Shoni is the team leader out of the Westfield office in Orem, and he is definitely ahead of the curve, by a long shot. And so anytime you see the Utah emails come out that talk about AI, it's not coming from our office, it's coming from the region.
Okay.
And it has to do with Shoni. This particular one, he's built some really cool programming and built an agent to help analyze real estate investments for your investor clients or for yourself. It's very sophisticated. It is, for an hour and 15 minutes of your time, just say yes. In fact, just say yes to everything that he does, the monthly deal. You will not regret it. And it's usually the 3rd or 4th Friday of the month that he does one.
Okay. Great. Yeah, and on Zoom, so we'll get the link out as well for that. But yeah, keep that on your calendars, guys.
It's not. It's on Demio.
Oh,
Okay, so it's on the calendar.
Yeah, it's just a mistake. He switched over to Demio. Yeah, last one.
what is Demio?
Demio?
Please.
It's just a better version of.
Okay, well, there you go. Okay, couple more things really quickly. So fast track to your first deal. Again, Lindsay Kratz will be teaching this class. This will be at the Midvale Fort Union office. So October 27th, 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. We know it's, a lot of people are, obviously you guys are here during the middle of the day on a Tuesday. So if there's anybody you think that might benefit from really learning how to kind of get that pipeline kicked into gear, have them come meet with on the 27th of October with Lindsay, and we'll get that going for some new agents. And then we talked about Command Kickstart Workshop, 3 days, just an hour, was it 90 minutes, I believe, each day, November 10th, 11th, and 12th. With Kimber is running that, but really get in there to not just learn Command, but also like really dig into it, because Command does have a lot of really neat features if you really want to get in there and use it. So that is, again, November 10th through 12th. Okay, new link tree we just talked about. So if anybody wants to scan that code. Anybody? Okay, I'm just looking to see if phone's coming up, if who needs it. Okay. All right, next up, we have Mark, I believe. Are you doing the Mark stats, or Josh, are you doing? Okay.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay. I got the slides like an hour before. I'm like, oh, Mark, you're doing it. He's like, oh, I am? Okay.
I was like, hey man, are you printing a market stats? He's like, yeah, actually. I was like, great. I was just about to do that. Mark and Melanie are going to do this for the next 3 team meetings, which I appreciate. I'm going to be on the road with a friend of mine. Anyway, if we scroll down just kind of to the graphics, yeah, in there. So Mark, bonus tip, after it created the graphic with the prompt, I'd also asked it to add a trend line in there. So these dotted lines kind of just show you the trajectory, the trends that we're seeing. And so if you averaged everything out, you can see that the sold listings are slowly on a decline there, but that's something that we expect this time of year. Same thing with your under contract properties. They're slowly on the decline. Now we did have these 2 kind of hot points in September, and we've learned why that was, right? Yeah, because the interest rates had gone down. And so it's very interesting to me to see how sensitive the market is to affordability. And so there are a lot of people that want to buy a house right now that simply are unable to afford buying or have decided that it's above their budget, right? So Utah right now, our housing affordability index is at 74. The national average is 101.1. So what 100% means is that it's 100% is good. Anything less than that is bad. Utah, generally speaking, is considered severely unaffordable. That means that only 74%, people that make the median income can only afford 74% of the median house's payment, right? So that means they can't afford it, right? We have affordability issue. They can only afford 74% of that payment. And so I do track that kind of stuff on here, the affordability index. I pull that stuff out. I think I've got an article for the newsletter for you guys for November that talks about the affordability index. It doesn't talk about specifically how unaffordable we are. It really focuses more on the opportunities, that are ahead of us, and just understanding what that affordability really means. And if we scroll back up, we'll look at right in this area. Scroll down a little bit for me. You can see the active right here. The active listings are on their way up. And what you have to realize is that is still a very good thing for our market, because outside of interest rates, which may or may not change, The only thing that we can do is get our pricing a little bit more in line, so we're not in this hyperinflation state right now. Year to date, we are up 1% in our median home value, 1%, right? So that's good that it's slowing down. I mean, all of us who own real estate are like, oh, we just wanted to go up 24% forever. But you got to understand, all of the younger people that want to hop in and be home buyers, they can't afford that. And so you got to think long term and what creates a healthy market, and seeing some inventory, settle. That's actually good. I worry more that we're going to see a lot of it come off the market, and then we end up having an issue in spring where you have a lot of people coming off the fence and a lot of people put their properties up on the market, and then those getting absorbed too quickly, and then we're back in the same situation where we have hyperinflation, in terms of housing values. The economics of inflation are when you have too many dollars that are chasing too few goods. That's the thing that causes, the product to go up in value. And obviously we've had that problem. Salt Lake and Utah County, this is all in here, by the way, but Salt Lake County and Utah County are severely undersupplied still in terms of housing. And over the next 6 years, we have a major deficit ahead of us. And obviously builders are not in the business of charity. And so it's not like they're going to build if the market's not good. And the reality is very difficult for them to keep up with the demand that we put by population growth on the builders in terms of supply. So they're not really going to fix their supply problem, although it seems like Edge Homes is really desperately trying single-handedly to fix it, because my God, do they have a
They're
lot of
charity
homes.
adjacent.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just important for us to really have a level head about what supply and demand looks like. And it's important for us to have a level head about, this active supply of homes that we have on the market. Sure, it's the most that we've had, for 10 years, but it's the first breath of air that buyers have had also in a decade, meaning we know from our market stats that we can see that the original list to sale price, the gap between the original sale price and the list price is going down. But the other thing that you're maybe not seeing directly is that the amount of concessions that are being offered by sellers, and I'm not talking about paying a commission, I'm talking about concessions direct to a buyer, is also on its way up. So there's a coupling effect that's happening right now. If you look at properties that have been on the market for a period of time that then eventually sold, you usually see a pretty high concession figure in there. My guess is that higher concession figure is being used to buy down the interest rate on behalf of the buyer, right? So they can get something that's a little bit more affordable, because ultimately the value price of the home is not going to be as important to a buyer generally as what their affordability is, what that monthly payment looks like. And here's some easy math for you guys as we move into an interest rate environment that is dynamic. If interest rates go down by 1%, the mortgage payment for a 30-year goes down by almost 10%. So it's a pretty drastic measure. So if you look at, say, $12,000, $13,000 to buy 1 point off of an interest rate, if you were to finance every $1,000 that you guys finance, your buyers finance, if the interest rate is, say, 7%, I'll just put it there, it's $7, right? So if the price, if they were to save, say, $10,000, they're actually saving $70 a month. However, if they took that same $10,000 and bought down the interest rate by approximately 1%, they're saving 10%, more like $260 versus $70. So you guys need to be aware of how it is that we get our buyers better, more affordable product, especially given the fact that we have that kind of inventory coming into sort of the off season. They're going to have more motivated sellers. The ones that have to sell are really going to be trying to make a deal with you guys. So there's a lot of information obviously on here. I'm like, it's my 2 hours of my Monday morning on behalf of you all. But really, the thing is I know that not all of you guys will read this stuff, but even if you don't read it, feed it to the agent that we created just a few weeks back, because that agent will get smarter every time you give it this set of information. And by the way, at the bottom of this, after I go through the Utah summary, you have all of the national summary of what's happening, right? So your AI agent, for instance, if you're just feeding it the PDF every single week, the master copy that you made, just keep feeding it, it actually gets smarter. And now when you make a property specific copy of that master, that it's coming smarter than the original was. Does that make sense? Because you've been continuing to feed it. So even if you're not reading it, at least make sure that you feed it, because then you can go back and say, hey, in the last month, what's been trending in terms of Utah real estate versus the national market? And could you help me when Josh doesn't do this for you guys? Could you help me write a 60-second video script called Numbers That Matter with an intro, the body, and a hook that focuses on one of these primary trends? And guess what it'll do for you? It'll do the heavy lifting so you don't have to. All right. So at the very least, even if you're not reading it, make sure you download it and give it to the agent that you've created so it can get smarter over time. It'll make you sound a lot better. Mr. Dave?
I just wanted to sidetrack it.
No, you're fine.
We still have 35 minutes.
I was,
Dave.
I was just giving you a hard time.
Give the guy a microphone.
Where Josh was talking about the closing costs, the seller pay closing costs are on it. 4 or 5 times this last week, we had more closing costs that were offered and agreed by the seller than the lender could use. And so you probably need to be in close contact with your lender, because you're writing offers and you can't use that money. That's going to go back to the seller, whereas you can, possibly make an adjustment on the price or something like that to use any of those costs that the seller give. Because what I found is everybody's trying to figure a way to get that money to the buyer and not in loan costs. And keep in mind, the guy you talk to fill out the loan app is a loan officer, it's not the lender.
He's sitting in the back of the room. Don't talk about him like he's not here.
That money is going around. Otherwise,
Well, and you have to realize too, not all loans will allow you to buy a full percentage down off of interest rate. So it's important that you talk to our lender who's sitting in the back of the room overhearing this conversation. Mr. Nate?
I know Johnny includes this on his quarterlies, but I like these where they're more boots on the ground, like this is what's happening right now or 5 days ago, right?
Yep.
Is there anything that you're able to pull or resource for new build, permit pulls, or starts? Because that's actually something just on my personal radar for spring.
Yeah.
Is a potential lag in inventory.
I don't have, I haven't focused on that. I mean, it is a completely different product, totally different product. It doesn't exactly fit neatly into our residential metrics, but it is a great thing to follow. I don't have a resource for that, but I'm guessing if you ask Perplexity, for a local resource, the Utah Home Builders Association, they may actually have something that's out there, though. They may have a source for that, is what I'm saying. I just don't know what it is right off the top of my head, but that's a very good question. And then he'll track it every week for us, and he'll come up here and talk.
There you go.
the
Thanks,
numbers.
Nate. Thanks, Nate. Thanks for volunteering.
A lot of what I just said is sort of encapsulated in my market summary. So when I'm pulling all of this data and really looking at it through the lens of what does this mean for a buyer, what does this mean for a seller, and trying not to spin any of this data. But you can just see this is our average listings per month, per day, per month. And you can just get a sense of where we are versus where we were last year versus the extremely unhealthy market that we had in 2020. This is 2021, right? So I try to give you guys good data. This data, by the way, is always available to you. And so this particular component is, if you go to the stats part of the MLS, the first one down beyond rapid stats, which I love, is called market stats. And market stats is something that I like to look at because it gives me 5-year trends on under contracts versus last year, month by month, right? If you highlight on one of these, it'll pull up all the numbers for you. It gives you solds. It gives you back to market listings, right? There's been a lot of talk about, failed sales. Have you heard I mean, a lot of the like national news is talking about failed sales. It's up at 15.1% right now. But if you go and you look at the back to market listings on the market stats, you can find out, well, how do we compare here in Utah versus the national news, right? So our job is to be the local economist, but looking through the national lens. Why? Because all of your clients are on national media kind of sources, right? They're scrolling through national media. Your job is to understand what they see and then apply the local lens so you can get factual information, data-driven, conversations that you then have with your buyers and your sellers. Am I out of time?
No, not at all. Mom says yes.
Yeah, it's good enough.
Yeah. But again, this is available. Plug it in. If you don't read it, plug it into ChatGPT if nothing else.
Thank you.
Thanks, Josh. Hey, Mark, you ready to do that next week? Yeah. Okay, next up, we got Amir with Luminary giving us his spiel on what the mortgage world's doing. So,
kidding, I'm kidding. Okay, so no, but that was actually really good data what Josh was saying. Actually, one of the things that we do at Luminary, to touch on a little bit of what was said, is we do focus on how to take that national news and really bring it back into what's happening here in our market. So it's really important that you understand what's going on nationally, but how do we bring it back to our market? So this is where mortgage-backed securities are. I'm really just showing you this because it's a very interesting pattern that we've been in for the last about 6 weeks. We've been holding at the current rates, give or take an eighth of a percent, not a big range. And that's huge for us because in the last 2.5 years, as rates have been higher, every time they've come down, it's been a spike, right? Most of my clients that have refinanced, it's because they were able to move forward within like a 7 to 10 day period.
If I'm looking at the chart as from a layman's standpoint, if the data lines are moving up, is that bad for interest rates or is that good for?
Good question. So mortgage-backed securities, it's an inverse relation in your mind. So as it's moving up, it's actually better for where the interest rates are. But if you look at the next chart, which is what you guys can track on your own, this is the 10-year treasury. As that moves down, basically mortgage rates move with it. So as you're watching the 10-year treasury, it's usually between 2 to 2.5% higher for a mortgage. This is really like very layman, right? So you could expect a 30-year mortgage to be between 2 to 2.5% higher than what the 10-year treasury yield is. Okay. So right now we're at about 4% on the 10-year treasury. That's why mortgage rates are going to be somewhere between 6 and 6.5, depending what you're doing. At Luminary, we're a little bit lower because we're usually a little bit lower than the market. We're probably around 5.875 on average is what we're closing right now. Okay. On government loans, we're a lot lower than that. Government loans have a different type of pattern, and they're going to be like lower 5s to mid 5s. So I was closing a 5.375 FHA just last week.
Just so we know, outside of USDA, which not many of us are doing, do we have worries about FHA and VA with government shutdown?
Right now, no. I mean, we don't know, and I'll touch on the government shutdown in general, but let me touch on that in a second. Because the main point that I really wanted to show with the 10-year treasuries, you can see this pattern that we've been holding more or less in this range. And we haven't had that in the last 2.5 years. Okay. Every time we've gotten close to that 4% range, we've bounced back up. So rates are kind of holding stable based on a few different things that are happening in the market right now. So government shutdown. Yeah, Mark.
Well, I've been watching the spread a lot. I hear a lot of talk about the spread. Press that at all? Because we have the index dropping down for the treasury, but what we really should be.
Well, yes, but there's some regulatory changes that are happening when it comes to how banks are needed to hold their cash reserves that are going to affect how we look at that. And just so you guys understand, this gets a little bit more technical, but in general, banks need to hold a certain amount of money in reserve. and they're not allowed to just use that money for whatever they want. Most banks, they'll invest money, right? They take your money and invest 90% of it and hold 10% of it. But the regulation revolving around how they need to hold that is changing. And then that's going to in turn affect where that spread sits. So there's a lot of motion that's happening revolving around it. For what is really general for us and how we can like really focus our attention on what we're doing is where we are right now and where we're going is the big thing that your buyers should know, right? So as in the lending side, we focus mostly on buyers, but your sellers are also going to be wanting to understand like, well, I'm struggling to sell my property right now. This might be a much different picture a few months from now. And Josh talked a little bit about the uptick in those prices or under contracts that you saw on your market analysis. Those are directly related to where the interest rate moves. Mortgage applications for purchases today are about 15% higher than they were a year ago nationwide. That's a big move, 15% higher on people applying to buy. We have a big influx, not only people that are buying, but also refinancing. In those refinances, they're taking money out, they're using that money, and they want to go buy another house. I have situations where parents are helping kids by taking money on their house out, helping with down payments. There's a lot of influx because interest rates are a little bit more affordable. The moment you have a 5, the market really responds significantly. And we do expect that to kind of continue. With the government shutdown, because you had mentioned that, Josh, so we're 14 days in, we're in a callous moment right now with there's like steps as we're going. So right now you have air traffic controllers are about to take a huge hit on their checks. And we're going into Thanksgiving and Christmas, all these seasons of traveling. So there's a lot of conflicts that are arising with what's going on with this government shutdown. I personally think, there's going to be more momentum that should change those things and put more pressure on the administration and Congress to kind of figure this out. But you never really know. We're kind of almost in uncharted territories where we are right now. Like 14 days is a substantial time period for the government to be shut down. Hopefully this doesn't continue. If you go to the next slide, what's happening right now, I always touch a little bit on like what's in the news. So we have some US China stuff happening that's affecting the bottom market and actually like helping us a little bit. Specifically, I don't know if you guys are tracking this, but China came out, you can't use our rare earth materials in US Army. So they're like putting a ban on us using it in our military. And then US responds like, oh, I'm putting 100% tariff on China. They didn't just say that out of the air, they just put the tariff. And then China responded, well, if you're gonna do 100%, then I'm gonna attack your chip manufacturing in South Korea. So there's all these things that are going back and forth. And the bond market, which is what mortgages follow, usually benefits from those type of movements. So right now we're kind of holding, combined with the government shutdown, we're kind of holding in our pattern. Okay, if you go to the next slide, the other thing to consider is there's a lot of talk about how tariffs are going to move inflation. So Josh talked a little bit about what inflation is. Everybody knows that we've implemented these tariffs. And everybody's been talking about how consumers are going to be the ones that are going to have to pay for these tariffs. But actually, there was a research that was done by Goldman Sachs that just came out, and they were saying that only 25%, only 50% is being transitioned to the U.S. consumer. 25% is the export countries and 25% is absorbed by the supply chain. So actually, what we're being affected as a U.S. consumer by these tariffs is a lot less than it was considered. And also that 50%, it's not like an object that has some tariff component associated with it is going up in 50% by price. It's just that small portion of price increase for that good, only 50% of that we're feeling. So if you're trying to understand what that looks like, if you go to the supermarket or you're trying to buy a bike or you're trying to purchase clothes or whatever it is, you're kind of tracking those prices. We've been 6 months into these tariffs. Those prices haven't really moved, right? I don't see that jeans are costing 50% more and they're made in China, right? So I don't see that they're costing 50% more than they did before. So there's a lot of jargon around these tariffs and people are like, oh, inflation, it's gonna go to crap and I shouldn't do anything because of that. Use this data to retell your clients that don't just listen to everything that you see on social media. One more. This is probably the coolest thing that's affecting inflation right now are oil prices and gas prices. Right now we're anticipating a drop. We're already in the $3 range here in Utah, but we should be on the lower side of $3 a gallon on the national average. In fact, usually, I don't know if you guys ever track this, but gas prices are cheapest around Christmas time. Why are they cheapest around that time? Because the transportation usage basically drops, because gas prices are kind of like this, right? They're not ever just straight. Now we're kind of going to that end of season, but the move down is going to be a little bit more exasperated. So I wouldn't be surprised if you find yourself paying less than $3 for a gallon of gas come Christmas time. Okay. Now that's a huge component for us, because if I'm used to paying close to $4 and I drop down under $3, that's a lot of money that's going back into my pocket. That's deflationary, right? Suddenly it's like, oh, okay, I have other money to spend on other things. I'm going to feel like I have more money in my pocket. I'm going to be more open to spend. Wrap this all around to, how does this help in our real estate situation? Like, how do we really focus our attention with our clients to what we're doing in our day-to-day? I would really start the conversations now about what's going to happen to 3 or 4 months from now, because you're going to be in a different type of market. If these trend lines continue, and they should, you're going to be in a different type of market 3 to 4 months from now. So if you have all these people that are on the fence and they're considering buying, and we have this situation where we have high closing costs that we can get from sellers, you really have an affordability change that they might not know. So take the time, if it's not talking with us, but talk to your lender with like other options. A lot of times lenders don't take the time to consider. And it was interesting, you touched on this, Josh. I have $50,000 to spend. That's okay. We'll do a down payment of 35 and you'll do 5,000 in closing costs. But then their payment might not want to be where they need to be in order to qualify for that much more expensive house. They'll actually have more buying power if you move the money around. I have a client right now purchasing an FHA, and they want to spend 50,000, and we're not spending 50,000 on down payment. We're doing like 30,000 on down payment. It's like a $500,000 house. We're doing 30,000 on down payment, and we're doing 20,000 towards closing costs, and they're buying their rate down, and they're at a 4.999. And they were able to get their payment under $3,000 a month. And if you've been doing this for a minute, you know that right now a payment for a $500,000 house that's under $3,000 a month is very attractive. In fact, they're getting a house that's similar to what they're renting right now, and the rent is $3,200 and the house payment's under $3,000. That's the shift that's kind of happening. Okay. So all those people, it's like, it's cheaper to rent, it's cheaper to rent. It's not cheaper to rent. You're paying 100% interest when you're renting. 100%, not 5, not 6, not 7. You're not getting anything back. Oh, I can call my landlord for, you don't get the tax benefits. There's a lot of components with these people that don't understand that affordability move, and they're just nervous. So take the time to talk with your loan officer, or talk with me or Tori, and Tori's in the back too. Mm-hmm. So let us know, hey, I have a client who's really, payment conscious right now. I have a client that has savings and they want to buy a house, but they've heard that it's like a terrible time. How can we help them figure out how to make it more affordable? You got a question?
If you're done, because it's really stupid.
I'm done. Okay. I thought I'm listening. Like,
Sorry, everyone. But what I've noticed at the grocery store is not necessarily pricing being more expensive, but what I have noticed is like Costco serves the pre-packed like drumstick pouches, right?
Mm-hmm.
What I've noticed is those pouches have 3 or 4 glass drumsticks, but the sticker price is the same.
The same.
Inflation.
And,
Yeah.
And like same with like Lysol wipes. I've noticed that the 3-pack at Walmart is the same price, but it's the smaller.
So it's not as much.
Does that, like, how does that play into inflation calculation?
It does 100%. In fact, it's a different way. So I'll share with you with my family. My son is a type 1 diabetic, and we use these fruit snacks to give him sugar. So when his sugars drop. And we've always known there's been like about 11 little things in these packets. And about 3 or 4 months ago, suddenly the packets changed to 7 or 8. And it's the same price, same everything, same product. And now we're like, eat a whole bag because we know that's how much he needs, and suddenly he doesn't have enough. So it's like, wait, we have to recalculate everything. So yes, you're right. In fact, I went to Costco this weekend and I noticed that the steaks, the beef steaks I always loved the $9.99 a pound, and they shifted to like $14.99. Yeah, they shifted substantially, but that price move is beyond what's happening with like inflation and tariffs. We have price increases that are part of our economy no matter what, right? So it's almost like, what's the balance between normal? I mean, home prices go up, not just because of appreciation, they also go up because of inflation. So if you have a home price that's moved 6 or 7%, you can assume that 2 to 3% of that is inflation. The rest is actually appreciation of the market, right? Now, if you analyze where the inflation numbers are nationally right now, they're actually under 3%. So the overall inflation numbers that we're seeing in the market are actually controlled. Another thing that you can look at is labor versus capital in the market. So market is kind of controlled by labor and capital. What's happening on the labor side? What's happening on the capital side? We're seeing huge contraction in the jobs market. Huge. We're seeing like job losses every month right now. But on the flip side, if you follow like companies and you see what their earnings statements, they come out every quarter, earnings statements are up, substantially up. Companies are making a lot more money and their labor costs are a lot less. So where is that differential that's happening? Because those usually go together. It's most likely with optimization and like AI and really focusing on how do I implement all these other components, just like you guys are doing. In essence, by using AI to make yourself better, you're actually cutting out a portion of the market. Like Shoni said, if you in 3 years, there's going to be 2 types of realtors that use AI in their business, or realtors that are not realtors anymore, right? And that's really kind of where those kind of components are going. So to answer your question, you're not off the marker when it comes to companies contracting that way, but eventually it catches up, right? Eventually the consumer sees it and like, hey, I'm not going to buy that product because they notice.
One more time.
No, you're fine.
We're running out of time.
Nah, we're good.
11 minutes before.
No, we're good.
I'm usually probably the last one. So
We actually represented a seller. Our agent was out of town. Buyer's agent called me. They wanted to get an extension because his excuse was, we're getting an FHA loan and the government has shut down. We can't get our money. Okay. Please understand, the government shut down. The government is not writing a check for a loan. FHA insures the loan. VA guarantees the loan. They're not writing the check. Okay, so that was all bull crap. And just so you guys are aware, the government shutdown does not necessarily directly affect your transaction. It affects other things.
yeah, so like that's a great point. FHA, you need a case number. That's all you really need to close FHA. USDA, the reason it's different is USDA has a second underwrite through the USDA department. So I go through a whole underwrite process. I get my files clear to close as far as like where we sit, and then USDA has to underwrite it again. That's why that side is completely messed up right now. But if FHA, if they start cutting those departments and we can't access the case numbers, then it would be affected. And last thing I'll mention is you brought up a really cool point about closing costs and usage. One of the things that we talk about is interested party contributions. There's limits based on what you do, what type of transaction you do, how much you can get. But we have some very creative points through time that are not mortgage fraud. But we have creative ways
That's good.
to give your client more opportunities to use that money in different ways. For example, a lot of lenders don't do this. We do a 1-0 buy down. So it's a reduction in your interest rate for 1 year on your payment. Then you take, it might be $3,000 or $4,000 that you had extra. And as long as the interested party contribution work, we can use that money and we can add it at the last minute. So if you come to me at the last minute, make sure to communicate ahead of time what we're doing. But if you come at the last minute, like, hey, we have a situation, we're going to get more money, we have ways to implement that for you.
Cool. Thanks, Mayor. Any questions? Mayor. All right. We're wrapping things up here quickly. I was not expecting that. Okay. We got some September awards, so don't know. Do I not touch it? Okay. right. So our capper, Kirsten, good job. Lisa, good job. Good job. $1 million month. Thank you. One deal. I'm not gonna dance like Ryan did this. It's not happening.
Let's all celebrate and have a good time. We're gonna celebrate and have a good time. It's time to come together. It's up to you. What's
Good job,
your
Eden.
pleasure? There's a party going on right here. A celebration
Congrats, Sydney.
throughout the year. So bring your good time and your laughter too. We're gonna celebrate your party with you. Come on now.
All right. Congrats, everybody. That was on there. Okay. Last thing is our preferred partner spotlight. Joel, come on up. Joel from Equity. There you are, sir. It's for people on Zoom.
Okay. Hello, everyone. It's nice to see you guys all again. Are you guys able to put my website up on the screen really quickly, or is just equityhw.com or hw.com or no? Please. But anyways, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Joel Hawley. I'm one of the owners of Equity Home Warranty. Some of you might know my partner, Yancey Scott. He's playing in Europe, so so good for him. But yeah, this company's been around for about 11 and a half years. I've been in the industry for 28 years, and Yancey's been in it 32 years. So we've both been around a long time. I'm up from Davis County, West Point, Clearfield area. But one of the things that I wanted to talk about today is pricing. Okay. We have the best pricing in the state of Utah, you guys. We have not raised our prices since we opened 11 and a half years ago. And I'm sure you guys have seen with some of the competition that, thank you very much. I'm sure you've seen with some of the competition that there has been several rate increases. We've kept ours strong. We're keeping them low for the tighter budgets. And what a lot of agents are doing, if you guys can see the pricing versus, or our pricing versus what's being written into the contracts, you're probably able to see that you can get your clients 2 years of coverage for what my competitors are charging. Okay. For $800, I know there's an $800 plan out there. You can get our very best plan for the first year, get our basic plan for the second year. We're going to fix a lot of the major things the first year, and then the basic will come in handy for the major three: the plumbing, the electrical, and the HVAC. Other agents are, if they're writing in $600, they're getting a 2-year basic plan, okay? Or they're writing in the $400 for the first year and the $300 for the second year. So we're covering homes for 2 years for what some of my competitors are covering for the price of one, okay? So I want you guys to keep that in mind, and that doesn't mean that we don't cover the claims or we're not taking care of folks. We're not the biggest out there. We're not the flashiest, but we are very good at customer service. We take it very seriously, and we found a nice balance to where we can still offer excellent customer service and keep the pricing low for you guys and your clients. And then our renewals, they only go up $200. I'm hearing some renewals out there for $1,500 based on if they're using the warranty or not. We don't do it that way. That's what we're there for, is to cover the claims, okay? We're not going to penalize somebody and charge them more money for a warranty simply because they're using the service. Okay, so $700 gets them the renewal. We do invite them and offer them to renew it once they expire. Yeah, it's giving your clients an opportunity to keep coverage on their home at a very discounted rate. So I've got a nice spread for you guys out here. It's an all-you-can-eat taco bar. It's looking that way. So I want you guys to indulge and enjoy yourselves. And I'm going to hang around and answer any questions you guys might have, but that's all I have to say. I appreciate the opportunity being here and the support of all you guys in this room. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you, Joel. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. And Joel, we appreciate you guys at Equity. You guys take good care of us. Appreciate it. Okay. Last thing we've got is wants and needs. Anybody have anything coming up? Miss Lee.
The last Rambler, 1,830 square feet on each floor, 3-car garage, 775. If anybody's got somebody looking out in Daybreak, HOA is 142 a month.
When are you gonna go live with that?
It will go,
Okay, it's a little later this month. Okay, great. Anybody else wants and needs? Dave?
The projects that I said a few weeks ago, that we're getting on the market, we've got Trip Lane in Murray. Got 12 units out there. The first 3 are at the finish stage, and the next 3, the holes are being dug, and the other 6 will finish and things as we go. If you have any or need any information, text me. I can send you over a link to renderings, prices, basic info and all that, so you can kind of start warming your people up. But we got 12 that are finally hitting the market. Price range is mid-7s, low to mid-7s, and to low 9s.
Great. Anybody else? Okay. I got 5 minutes. So. All right. Thanks, everybody. Go get some tacos.